They're known as the counselors, the empaths, the protectors of the soul. But when an INFJ walks out of your life without a word or a trace, it leaves behind a silence louder than any goodbye. Why do INFJs cut people off so suddenly? And more importantly, what dark reasons lie beneath that final decision? Today, we're diving into the 10 hidden and often painful reasons INFJs disappear without warning. 1. Emotional burnout. INFJs absorb the emotions of others like sponges. They're listeners, healers, and shoulders to cry on. But even they have limits. When someone consistently drains their energy without offering support in return, INFJs hit emotional burnout. When they do, they don't announce it. They vanish because they've been silently screaming inside for too long. 2. Pattern recognition. What others overlook, INFJs detect instantly. Manipulation, toxic cycles, subtle dishonesty. Their intuition spots red flags long before anyone else does. Once they see a damaging pattern forming, they don't wait for the explosion. They quietly exit before the chaos hits. 3. Loyalty overload. INFJs are loyal to a fault. They'll give you second, third, even 10th chances. But once they realize their loyalty is being taken for granted, it flips. When the weight of that one-sided loyalty becomes unbearable, they don't argue. They sever the tie completely and disappear without explanation. 4. Internal conflict. INFJs are walking contradictions, with a deep desire to connect mixed with an intense need for solitude. When a relationship forces them to compromise their peace, authenticity, or emotional values, the inner conflict becomes too much. To protect themselves, they choose distance over closeness. 5. The invisible threshold. INFJs rarely cut people off out of nowhere. They give subtle warnings through emotional withdrawal, reduced communication, and colder energy. Most people miss those signs, but once the invisible threshold is crossed, it's already over. The INFJ just hasn't made the announcement because they don't need to. 6. Fear of conflict. Despite their deep convictions, INFJs often avoid confrontation. Rather than create drama or engage in uncomfortable conversations, they choose silence. Not because they're afraid of the person, but because they're protecting their emotional energy. For INFJs, disappearing quietly often feels safer than speaking loudly. 7. Moral deal breakers. INFJs live by an internal code of ethics. If someone crosses a boundary that violates their core values like dishonesty, cruelty, or manipulation, it can be unforgivable. Rather than call it out, they make a quiet, internal judgment and shut the door. Not with rage, but with certainty. 8. Unspoken grief. INFJs don't just cut people off out of anger. Sometimes they do it out of grief. They mourn the emotional investment, the potential, the conversations that never happened. And when a relationship becomes a source of sorrow instead of strength, they step away quietly and heartbreakingly. 9. The one-sided relationship. They notice when the effort is unbalanced. They notice when they're always initiating, always listening, always giving. Even though they won't say it, that emotional neglect turns into quiet resentment. Eventually they walk away, not because they're cold, but because they were already left behind emotionally. 10. The final awakening. Sometimes cutting someone off isn't just about that person. It's about the INFJ outgrowing a version of themselves. When they heal or rediscover their self-worth, they leave behind anything or anyone that no longer aligns. If you were part of their pain, you don't get to follow them into their next chapter. INFJs don't cut people off because they're heartless. They do it because they've tried. They've endured. They've warned you in silence. So when they finally leave without a word, know this. It wasn't impulsive. It was the result of countless quiet moments of realization. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, protect your peace and never underestimate the quiet goodbye of an INFJ.